podcast focused on trends shaping the future of manufacturing. I'm Alexandria Burek, your host, here with A.W. Schultz, two thought leaders with a passion for people and manufacturing. Today and every episode, we are diving deep into the advancements, sustainable practices, and dynamic changes transforming how we produce everything.
And now welcome Alexandria Burek and A.W. Schultz.
Hey everybody, welcome to Factory of the Future. It's another episode here with A.W. Schultz and myself, Alexandria Burek. So today we brought the topic of augmented reality to you all. So AW has some interesting insights on kind of a little bit of a labor shortage that we're going to be working with. And we're going to sit here and have a thoughtful conversation about how we see this playing out and what potential solutions we think can be brought to the table to kind of address this labor shortage and what we think the factories are going to be kind of left to deal with here. So I'll let AW take it away with some of the facts and insights that he brought to the table here. And then hopefully you guys enjoy this conversation we're about to have on that.
Yeah, well, thank you, Alexander. So yeah, today, and I think we might have maybe a couple series on this, is by the year 2030, there's expectations, no, not expectations, there's the thought process that we're going to have a shortage of labor around 2 million people in the US. So one of the things to break some of those barriers is what can we do as far as technology and building a sustainable factories that can work more lean than they probably have in the past. So the first area I wanted to talk about was the idea of immersive technology. Now, that is a broader term, but to use terms that we might be more familiar with is the idea of augmented reality, virtual reality, or just a mixture of both. Now, some of the benefits that you have when you start thinking about augmented reality is, one, possibly the individuals don't even need to be in the factory. The second is it can also help with enhanced training and skills development, and can help improve planning and collaboration and become more reliable. Some of the changes or challenges that we've seen is, the idea of thinking about hands-on safety trainings that, in the past we had to sit through a long, boring video that talks about all the checkoffs on the safety, where, say if we're doing virtual reality, maybe they go and actually experience these unsafe actions that possibly could be in a safe environment.
Yeah. With that, it makes you think like, how they always say, like, we talked about it earlier on one of the previous episodes, like that, it's like the height of attention. You were talking about it. What's the technical term? Like the first day on the job, moment of influence. There you go. So that's kind of like, I wonder if like you could like almost create those moments of influence and lock in that experience by creating like this fake virtual catastrophe that would like imprint in their minds, like, oh God, I wouldn't want that to happen, Like,
yeah, make them walk through a scenario like that.
Yeah, watch somebody get their arm cut off or something.
Make it a gory movie. That you definitely create that moment.
But that would be a moment of influence. So yeah.
But what excites me about it is the idea of also using it for maintenance.
Yeah.
Two examples. One I have seen is one. You think about so often now a lot of companies that have a CMMS system are incorporating
yes,
pads or
iPads, tablets.
iPads,
Yes.
Tablets. I'm sorry, I was looking for tablets. And what some companies have got to the point is that they actually identify and artificial intelligence can identify these equipments and actually walk a mechanic through the process of doing the preventive maintenance or the inspection on it.
Yeah.
The other area, and I haven't seen it in use, but only in theory, is the idea of saying you would have a hard hat and you've got the reality goggles. So say you have a subject matter expert that's 10,000 miles away, on site helping you troubleshoot it because he's seeing, or he or she is seeing everything that you see. And it's, where I've seen it beneficial is probably more likely in the oil and gas industries or the manufacturing of those, just because of, the cost of downtime and having somebody available for that. So I think that's kind of interesting.
I think that is too. So like, let's talk through that for a second. So essentially with the hard hat video, basically experience, you could have somebody who's theoretically like the brains, the engineer, and rather than in current state where the engineer has to be based there or would have to fly there or whatever, you kind of have the brains, the engineer who's stationary, and then that engineer can service multiple factories, and then they have, call it, the boots on the ground who are wearing the hat and then like kind of acting out the instructions of the engineer or the brains of the operation, and then there's the physical executor who's doing what's being told through the headset and through the hard hat video situation.
Yeah, that's cool. Essentially how it works.
Cool.
Other companies like Boeing and DHL is using it for logistics, but Boeing is incorporated it into their assemblies of their some of the jets that they have, just because the assembly is quite a bit complex.
Yeah,
and it's almost can be used as a quality control as they're
cool.
building.
That's cool. And I think too, like one thing that's interesting is like if we think about where are robots going to fit into this, right? So like I'm obviously interested in real estate stuff, and on Instagram I got like an advertisement or something for this company, and I saw this like guy play out the scenario. Maybe it was another podcast, I don't know, but he basically is like, picture this: you find a fix and flip, you get a robotic inspector who has geothermal abilities or whatever, so they could see, this robot could see through the walls, it could tell if there's leaks, it could tell if there's any kinds of issues. So then they produce like this perfect project plan of how what needs to be done for this house, this robot inspector, and then transmutes the plans to like these worker robots that come in and like rebuild this house in a week because they don't tire, and they can lay tile perfectly, and they can do the drywall perfectly. And when we were talking about this in preparation for the show, I immediately thought that would be incredible. I feel like having robots in factories, but then that brings us to another question of like, well, what will the people do? I guess robots need maintenance, right? I don't know.
That's exactly it.
So
I've seen it firsthand.
Really?
Where assemblies, palletizers, we use a lot of robotics in palletizing.
Really?
And the problem so you're palletizing boxes. Guess what boxes produce a lot of? Dust.
Cardboard. Oh.
And cardboard, yeah.
Sorry.
And the problems I've come into is that one, you've got a technician that doesn't know much about robots, and they're having problems with it because maybe the suction cups or the filters are dirty, because they're going to get dirty because it's constantly palletizing all day long.
Yeah.
But they needed just as much, or they still needed the effort of someone to maintain it, and especially if there was a jam, which happens.
Yeah.
They need that input from people. Your other point where you're talking about inspections. So have you ever heard of the I think it's called, not RDI, Boss, the Spot, that little robot dog. Have you ever seen it?
No.
Yeah, so I've been at a couple trade shows where I'm sure that there was probably one at Fluke when we were there in Orlando.
Maybe I missed it.
Okay. I'm almost certain they had one there. They seem to have all these reliability events now.
Okay.
Anyway, they were they're always showcasing some of the features that they have, and I know this one company, they use it for laser sightings for vibration analysis, because it can sit certainly still, and then also for thermal inspections.
Mm-hmm.
There was I think it was Coca-Cola they had to put a video together, and they were showing how they use Spot for inspection out throughout the facilities.
Wow.
What's really interesting is, especially in the oil and gas, where you don't want to submerge somebody into an unsafe environment, where you can send Spot in to do the inspections.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's like a life-saving robot right there.
Yeah,
Like,
I think they're
really?
still working on a lot of hiccups
Yeah.
on it. But I get the chance to see a couple of those spots, and like it's amazing because it was walking around you just like a dog, and it doesn't touch you. And for some reason, and I was moving around too, and I was talking to the guy, and
Yeah.
with they're programmed well, they're pretty cool. They're about
That's
$100,000, I think.
Wow, that's cool though. That's really cool. Okay, so we have a future where there's going to be probably people remote working in the factories, like we've talked about in the past, to operate like the machinery from a remote or distant location. Then you're going to have the boots on the ground and the brains of the operation. The boots are going to be the people who are carrying out the job of the brains. The brains are going to be people who are troubleshooting and kind of addressing whatever issues from a remote location again, out to these multiple boots on the ground. The brains are more skilled and expert type engineer types. And then the boots on the ground people are the ones who are just going to get it done and take the instructions and execute on that. And then lastly, we have potential like robots and use of kind of like that blended technology and people model, like we've talked about and like we talk about with Industry 5.0, right? Like you can't,
Robots.
the robots have to have some people component to it. But the robots are actually saving the people in this scenario because, like we're not sending people into confined spaces where they could be trapped or otherwise. But we still need somebody we need somebody to clean up these robots and make sure they're in tip top shape. And I'm sure they need maintenance just like everybody else. What are you going to do? Have a robot to maintain the robot to maintain the robot? No, you're going to have people.
Not yet, no.
Not yet. Yeah, at least not yet, right? Okay, cool. So what else you got?
Well, you bring up the inspections. So I mean, this is a real thing, especially in the oil and gas industry, is having drones that do the inspections on some of the vessels. So I mean, you think about career options when you get for those that are looking for their next step in their life.
Yeah.
Think about being a pilot for a drone. Wouldn't that kind of be fun?
That would. And then, now saying that, like, so I'm in Chicago. Oh, I'm not thumbs down.
You don't like that?
No. So I'm in Chicago this week, or weekend or whatever, a couple of days. Hence the unusually busy background here. But, as I was looking, like we're talking about that, I'm like, I wonder if they could use like drones and whatever to maintain the like big air conditioning units or do inspections on those, like a drone that flies up on top of all the buildings. Then I can just go hop from building to building to do whatever needs to be done.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the initial inspections through a drone, and then it leads to, what if we need further inspection, we send out individuals for that.
Yeah. That's really cool. That's cool. Well, I like it. I guess I am concerned about this shortage because if some of the things I know politically in the past election, there was obviously two different potential futures to exist. And I think with the president that won, there will be even more manufacturing taking place in the United States. If I had to place a bet based on Trump winning, I wonder how that changes the shortage, because if we are short 2 million people by 2030, but yet we're going to bring additional and more factories into the United States, or like bring manufacturing back to the United States and try to grow that, I think that widens the gap and just further emphasizes the need for this stuff. Like, what do you think of that?
No, I think that there has been some talks about what's coming down the pipeline. If there's more jobs, because I mean, certainly with the new president coming in, he wants to create more within the United States, and we don't have willing people that want to go to do these jobs. Where there's going to be a gap.
Yeah. I wonder what it'll be interesting to see it shake out and see how that gets solved, and what the blend of technology is with people and robots with people and kind of all that mixed in. I think it'll be really interesting. And Yeah, I hope it's a good thing. I really hope it's a good thing. I hope it brings more opportunities to people. And like you said, I guess people could be drone operators, and I guess they could live remotely if they're just doing, driving their drone to do inspections on buildings. Why not, right?
Yeah. And why can't these be outsourced to just have, instead of having your own technicians supporting one plant, why can't these be a pool of them just
Yeah.
on demand, ready to go out there to any other facility that asks, because you've got your subject matter expert that's remote.
Yeah.
Opens up different possibilities. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does. I'm excited about that. And kind of like we always talk about too, like it opens up the work remote for some of the people that I don't think have had that privilege in the last several years. So hopefully that's also a good thing for more, balanced lives and, time with family and things. But I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to talk about, or are we going to clock out here?
I think we're ready to clock out here. Just kind of
Cool.
like get out of here like finished goods.
Out of here like finished goods. That's it.
All right.
All right.
Take
That was
care.
a good episode. Thanks.
This is Factory of the Future, and we are out of here like finished goods. Stay tuned for our next episode of Factory of the Future, where we're exploring groundbreaking techniques and behaviors that are reshaping industrial landscapes. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review and help others discover the cutting-edge insights transforming manufacturing as we know it.